So Transport Canada has issued a proposal that would allow large drones such as cargo drones to fly beyond visual line of sight when traveling in remote areas. The proposal would accommodate drones which weigh 650 kilos, or a little over 1,400 pounds. And this would allow for expanded operations in Canada's largely sparsely populated areas where energy industry is engaged and where drone delivery might be most useful. So, Miriam, this is another article on drone life. I know you didn't exactly author this. This was written by Harry. But what were some of your guys' thoughts when seeing this and seeing this news coming out of Canada?
Yeah, I think that this is another great example. I like this article because what it shows is an approach of the Canadian airport authorities, air transportation authorities, of saying, okay, so obviously we're not going to have cargo drones, flying over Toronto. However, there's no good reason when we estimate risk that we shouldn't kind of move to allow what we can allow with a very low risk. And so they're looking at these really sparsely populated areas. And if you think about where is drone transportation, where is cargo drone kind of thing most useful, it's where there's fewer people, less road infrastructure. So right terrain. In those areas, absolutely, it has the most value and the lowest risk. There's just no people there. So to say, and if you look at the article closely, CAA said very specifically, we're trying to move forward. We hear you. We're trying to move forward on drone delivery. We're trying to move forward on expanded operations. So we're going to take this approach where we say, okay, go for it in these areas where the risk is really very, very low. Prove your use case there, and then we'll talk. And I think that that's a very reasonable way to go. It also provides a lot of value for the industry that's working in those areas, and it provides value for the drone industry because we do have the opportunity to prove the use case, prove the safety of the technology.
Yeah, I'm excited by the sheer weight on record there for the
for the drone,
right?
Yeah, crazy.
That's like a no turning back point. Like this is, we're not talking lightweight drones, and we're allowing these for BVLOS. So I think this is exciting. I think this and the FAA announcement last week about working with Swiss FOCA for kind of developing international testing. I think the Swiss have a great system for, what is it called? It's basically trial and assessment. So they're more willing because of understanding their airspace, having kind of the mountainous regions to test in, to run an experiment even across the lake in Zurich, from one side to the other. And we're going to be able to use that data here in the United States. So I think a lot of what people felt was downward pressure stopping progress from happening. I think the next 2 years, we're going to see a lot of opening up, and it's going to be intelligent and it's going to be data-based. So this announcement in Canada is kind of just cherry on the cake for me because it's so big. And I just don't think we can turn back the wheel of progress after this one.
Yeah, I'm going to unfortunately sort of we're not going to stoke any controversy here because I agree with everything everybody just said. It seems like a big opportunity to move forward. The scale is just kind of, it's hard to imagine for those of us who've been in the tiny little drone industry, a 1,400-pound drone. And I was going to say when you talk sparsely populated, Canadian sparsely populated is way more sparsely populated than, say, American populated. When I first read this article, I was a little concerned about, gee, a 1,400-pound drone landing on your head could really ruin your whole day. But, I mean, the CAA are no slouches when it comes to regulating drones. In fact, to the extent I'm aware of sort of what their program is, it's often struck me as being too conservative. So I think this is nothing but a good thing. I think it'll push the industry forward worldwide, and I say good on the CAA for allowing it. I think it's a good step.
Yeah, I remember
that data.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry.
need
that
I
too.
mean, we need the data from the use cases. No country in the world is. They need the data, so it has to happen somewhere to gather the data in order for them to make determinations about the use in countries where sparsely populated means less sparsely populated.
Really sparse.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the FAA Swiss FOCA thing. You know, the more we're sharing data between countries, the more we could actually advance things, because certain countries have literally geological kind of limitations or benefits that allow them to do certain kind of tests safely. And
Yeah.
once that data is on the record, then the rest of us can use it to expand and scale operations.
Right.
As you say that, it reminds me of Zipline and their work in Africa. You know, that's just another prime example of that. I mean, that's an amazingly sophisticated system, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's
you'd probably be working. You'd still be working through the initial layer of approvals if you're trying to do that in the United States.
Yeah.
and we
Right.
had Judith Sherman from UNICEF. She helped build the drone corridor in Malawi. You know, and that wasn't even you know, that's an NGO, not a private for-profit like Zipline. So it's really, you know, having the need on the ground and the use case. She was able to build out a drone corridor in a very, very mountainous country, and they're also using it for farming there, and they get an extra edge because, you know, a drone can improve crop yield in an area like that a lot more than it can in a country like ours, where farming infrastructure has been built out pretty efficiently.
Right. Yeah, I love to see kind of a tiered approach to regulation like what Canada is doing here, and not use the one size fits all or blanket approach, because the truth of the matter is different situations are different and sometimes very different, and we should kind of regulate them accordingly. So yeah, really excited to see, and hopefully we can, you know, the FAA can look north and see what Canada is doing, and hopefully get some of that data and start to put into place some of these regulations here.